What's good, fam? Whisky Wednesday, episode 5. Welcome back. This is not your father's scotch. I'm excited. We're kicking off our single malt scotch series. Now, here's the thing. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We're taking a dram. You know how we do. And can I be honest with you all? I have not always enjoyed scotch. I'm just be honest with you. I'm gonna put it out there. I have not always enjoyed scotch. I thought it was an old man's drink. Old men sit around smoking cigars, drinking scotch, whatever. My earliest experience I had with scotch was not a great experience. It was with a blend of scotch. I'm not going to say the name, but the initials are JW. You figure it out. It was not a great experience. So I was like, forget it. Scotch ain't for me. Now, here's the thing. When you are properly introduced to something, right, then you can appreciate it. And that's how I began to love scotch. Scotch was properly introduced to me by a very good friend of mine. And it was through an educational tasting class that I began to love scotch. And once I understood how scotch is made, once I understood the storylines behind a lot of the scotch distilleries and learning how to taste and sip and enjoy scotch, then I fell in love with scotch. Preferably single malt. That's when I fell in love, right? So when I say this is not your father's scotch, I mean what I say. Today, we are talking about Benriach The Smoky 12. Yes, indeed, The Smoky 12 by Benriach. And I'm excited. Why? Because, I'm excited because of single malt scotch, one. Two, I haven't always, like I said before, I haven't always enjoyed scotch, but I enjoy it now. So now that I get to talk about it, I'm going to be over the top with it. Listen, the Benriach 12, this is the Benriach The Smoky 12. All right? Now, there are scotches that are unpeated and there are scotches that are peated, right? Scotches that are peated, they have that quote-unquote smoky flavor, taste, profile to it, etc. All right? Now, certain regions in Scotland that produce certain scotches have that peated flavor. All right, we will get into that when we do Scotch 101. All right, but today I want to dive into the Benriach Smoky 12. I think hands down, I'm not gonna say it's one of my favorites. It is definitely on that list though. It is flask worthy. It's bar worthy. It is sharing with your friends worthy. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to tell you. And y'all like, come on, man, get into the notes. Be patient. Let's talk a little history about Benriach. Let's talk a little history about Benriach real quick. How about that? Can we do that? Come on, man. You know how we do. I always do this. So, Benriach was started by John Duff in 1898. All right, in Scotland, North Speyside, on the old Riach farms. Now check this out. 2 years later, in 1900, the distillery closed due to the Patterson crash. All right, I got my notes on my iPad. That's what I'm looking at. All right. So the Patterson crash caused the distillery to close. Not just their distillery, but a lot of other distilleries in Scotland were affected by this. Now, fast forward, 1965, the distillery began to produce scotch again. Now, here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing. From 1900 up to 1965, even though they weren't producing scotch, they were producing the barley for, who was that? That was for Longmorn, oh my gosh. They were producing barley for Longmorn Distillery, right? So now in 1965, the distillery comes back online. They go through a few owners, right? And today, present day, shout out to my friends over at Brown Foreman. They are the present owners of Benriach Single Malt Scotch, right? So, 1972 was a pivotal year for them because Benriach started to explore with peated distillation. Hint, right? So they started exploring with peated distillation. They used malted barley smoked with Highland peat. Oh, yes. Then 1994, Benriach dropped their first single malt. It was a 10-year. So, bringing back the present day, we have the Smoky 12. I'm excited to dive into. Now, listen, I mentioned earlier that I wasn't a big fan of scotch, but it took a good friend of mine who is a woman, right, to introduce me to scotch the proper way. Now, women have a way of making things better. So I'm going to say, women have a way of making things better. If you don't believe me, whatever. Thank your mom then. Look in the mirror because you got to thank your mother because your mother made you and you are a better person because of your mom, right? Whatever. Anyway, stay with me. So look, Master Blender, Dr. Rachel Berry, took over in 2017 and has been doing some amazing things over at the distillery. They use peated and unpeated process, okay? Now, for this particular Smoky 12, they use 3 casks. Count them. 1, 2, 3. 3 casks. A bourbon, a sherry, and a masala. Now, I'm excited because I'm ready to dive in, and I know you want me to dive in. With the 3 casks, what they did, they have a 12-year in a bourbon cask. They have a 12-year in a sherry cask. Then they have a 12-year in a masala cask, right? At the proper time, Dr. Berry pulls the samples, and then she blends to make the Smoky 12. So get it, it's still single malt. The single malt's in each of the 3 casks, but then they bring it together and they blend it to create what we have here is a Smoky 12. It's independent, they're all independently aged and then blended, like we said. I've said all that to say what? Shall we get into our first taste? I've already poured it. You saw me. So let's get into the nose. Oh, I get some great honey. Nice spices on this. There, I get the peat. Oh, yes. Come on, y'all, let's take that first sip. Immediately it pulls you in. Immediately you get a little bit of that peated is right there in the very beginning, and it lasts throughout the flavor. Some delicious honey notes. There's some slight fruit notes on it that I'm getting. Ooh, this is delicious. Oh my gosh, hold on. See, this is what I love. When you're properly introduced into various things within your life, there's an appreciation. And for me, the appreciation when it comes to the Benriach Smoky 12 is I get the influence from the bourbon, the sherry, and the masala, right? I get the influence of the oak notes. I get the fruit notes. I get some of that, a slight spice, right? Maybe a bacon spice, but I don't get too much of the caramel or anything like that, but the peat doesn't overpower. And the peat is actually very enjoyable. And I love a good smoked old fashioned. I love some peated scotch. I mean, I'm telling you, there's certain days you just want that in your palate. And this, to me, I love the color on this. It's delicious. The nose is fantastic. I get that subtle sweetness, and then I get into the peat, and then I get a finish. So I get the subtle sweetness on the front, the peat right in the middle, and then I get some fruit notes on that back end. Oh yeah, Benriach. Can I get an invite to the distillery? I'm just saying. I mean, I need my friends over at Brown Foreman to kind of make this happen. Y'all listening? No, seriously. And this is the beautiful thing, is the fact that because I stepped out of my comfort zone, when I got invited to the tasting, I stepped out of my comfort zone, right? Went to the tasting, even though at the time I did not like scotch. I was not a scotch fan. Let's keep it clear. I was not a scotch fan. I stepped out of my comfort zone and watched this young lady talk about the history of this particular brand that she was working for. She went through, I think it was 5 different offerings, and the difference between each one, how to approach it, how to sip it, you can add water to open up some flavors, right? So within that, I think 45 minutes or so, I got a proper introduction to scotch. And then that started me down the path to, whoa, let me explore this a little bit more. Now, had I been closed-minded and said, whatever, I'm not coming to your tasting. I don't like scotch, so forget it. But thank you to my sister. She knows who she is. And this journey into scotch has been a great one so far. And I feel like I'm just getting started. So the Benriach Smoky 12, please, 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 if you don't have it, go out, get you a bottle, or find a friend who has a bottle. Listen, if you know me, I'll share this with you. But let me know in the comments if you had the Smoky 12. What are your thoughts on the Smoky 12 from Benriach? What are your thoughts on it? I'm enjoying it. I definitely see myself sipping on this more. As you can see, I've been tapping the bottle a little bit. It's okay. We do these things, right? We do. And this is, like I said in the beginning, flask worthy. What I mean by flask worthy? If you have a flask, only the good stuff goes in the flask. Hey, shout out to not being closed-minded. Shout out to being open for new experiences. Shout out to life in general. You know what I mean? So, hey, till next Wednesday, be good. Love yourself. Love your friends. Listen, you know how we do. Give love, show love, spread love. And until then, here's to Dr. Barry and the whole crew over at Benriach. Smoky 12 was phenomenal. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.